Don't fry me, man. Don't fry me. I ended up breaking my damn mic. So just take a look at this shit, bro. I ended up breaking my fucking mic. It doesn't work, so we have to use this. Editing Nehxmiahh here. I actually ended up breaking my mic because I ended up doing some dumb stuff while I was recording. It took me about 15 attempts, and I still didn't get it right before this take. So I ended up smashing my mic. So yeah, there you go. And so I'll buy a new one. So. Bear with me, alright? Bear with me. On the evening of July 18, 2018, 19-year-old Mollie Tibbett walked out the front door for what should have been an ordinary run. Running wasn't unusual for Mollie. It was part of her routine, something she had done countless times before in the small town of Brooklyn, Iowa, where neighbors knew one another by name and crime was damn near unheard of. Within hours, friends began noticing that Mollie wasn't responding. By the following morning, a missing person investigation was already underway. What began as a desperate search for a missing college student would soon become one of the most deadly watch criminal investigations in America. This is a story of Mollie Tibbett. Mollie Cecilia Tibbett was born on May 8th, 1998. She spent much of her childhood growing up in Brooklyn, Iowa, with a town fewer than 2,000 residents, so it's a small, very small town. Life in Brooklyn moved at a slower pace than most cities. Children rode bikes through the neighborhoods, families gathered at local sporting events, and people left their damn doors unlocked. That's an idiotic, retarded move, but hey, people did it. It was the kind of town where everyone recognized everyone else. Although her parents divorced while she was growing up, both remained active in her life. Friends described Mollie as someone who always carried positive energy into every room she entered. She was naturally athletic. Throughout high school, she competed in cross-country, track, and developing a passion for long-distance running. Running became more than a sport. It became an escape. Whether she was clearing her mind after class or preparing for a competition, running gave Mollie a sense of peace. Academically, she excelled. Teachers remembered her as hardworking and compassionate. She wasn't someone who sought attention. Instead, she quietly encouraged those around her. After graduating high school, Mollie enrolled at University of Iowa. She planned on studying psychology, hoping one day to help children through counseling or social work. Her future looked incredibly bright. She had a loving family, a close circle of friends, and a long-term boyfriend named Dalton Jack. The two had dated throughout high school and remained together while attending college. To those who knew her, Mollie represented everything a young adult hoped to become: kind, motivated, and full of ambition. No one imagined her life would end just months after beginning college. Living only a short distance away was a man named Christian Christian Bahina Rivera. I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm reading some awkward ass name. You let me know how that's pronounced. Rivera was born in rural Mexico. Unlike Mollie, very little has been publicly documented about his childhood. Reports indicate he grew up in a farming community before eventually making his way to the United States in search of work. Later, he settled in Iowa. Rivera worked at local dairy farms where coworkers generally described him as quiet and dependable. He largely kept himself. Now, we're gonna take a pause there because you guys gotta watch out for people like that. People that are awfully quiet, you definitely gotta watch because they tend to be planning and plotting on some shit. So just letting you guys know, there were no highly publicized violent criminal convictions connected to him before the murder. To neighbors, he appeared live and live an ordinary life. Whoa, I said live? What? Live an ordinary life. Soon he would become the focus of one of the nation's largest homicide investigations. July 18, 2018, Dalton Jack was away from town for work. Mollie was staying at his house while he was gone. That evening, sometime around 7:30 p.m., she put on her running clothes and headed outside. She often ran along familiar streets through Brooklyn. It was a route she had traveled many times before. Hours passed. Dalton attempted to contact her. No answer. Friends sent messages. Nothing. Her social media suddenly went silent. That was completely unlike Mollie. She always answered, she always checked in. By the morning, concern had already turned into panic. Her family contacted law enforcement. That's when the search began immediately. Almost overnight, Brooklyn transformed into the center of one of the largest missing person searches Iowa's ever seen. Hundreds of volunteers arrived. Soon there were thousands. Search teams walked miles of cornfields. Canine units searched wooded areas. Drones flew overhead. The FBI joined local investigators. Every possible lead was investigated. Investigators examined phone records, social media activity, traffic cameras, business surveillance footage, doorbell cameras, and even the smallest clue could make the difference. Days turned into weeks. Still nothing. Then investigators noticed something unusual. Detectives spent countless hours revealing surveillance footage from around Brooklyn. Most vehicles passed through only once, but one black Chevy Malibu appeared again and again and again.
In Christian Bahena Rivera's murder trial sees that car show up on the same home cameras 6 times in less than 20 minutes.
The vehicle repeatedly circled the area around the time Mollie disappeared. That immediately caught investigators' attention. Whoever was driving wasn't simply passing through the town. Police traced the vehicle to Christian Bahena Rivera. Once again, I don't know how that's pronounced, so correct me. Investigators arranged an interview. At first, Rivera declined any involvement, but detectives continued comparing his statements against surveillance footage. Eventually, his story began to change. According to investigators, Rivera admitted encountering Mollie during a run. He later told detectives that after an interaction between them, he became angry. Rivera eventually led investigators to a secluded cornfield. Hidden beneath rows of corn stalks, they found Mollie's body. For nearly 5 weeks, her family had searched endlessly. Search was finally over. Although Rivera had led investigators to the location of Mollie's body, prosecutors still needed to prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The case relied on several key pieces of evidence. Surveillance cameras tracked Rivera's vehicle before and after the disappearance. Digital evidence helped establish a timeline. Investigators documented a physical evidence connecting Rivera to the crime. Most importantly, Rivera possessed knowledge that the only killer would have known. I keep stuttering. That's my apologies. I just can't read without stuttering. It's been a thing since I was born. I just stutter. I get it from my father. Okay, just bear with me. The defense challenged parts of the investigation and argued that there were unanswered questions surrounding the evidence. However, prosecutors would maintain that the combined physical, digital, and testimonial evidence pointed overwhelmingly toward Rivera. In 2021, the case finally went before a jury. For days, jurors listened to testimony from investigators, forensic experts, and witnesses. They reviewed the surveillance footage, examined forensic evidence, and heard Rivera's statements. After deliberating, the jury returned its verdict: guilty. Get that nigga out of here. Christian Bahena Rivera was convicted of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For Mollie's family, no sentence could ever undo what had happened. But it did provide one thing that they had fought for since July of 2018: justice. Today, Mollie Tibbett is remembered for not only the way her life ended, but for the life she lived. Friends remembered her smile, her determination, her kindness, her love for running. Her family has continued honoring her memory through scholarships and community efforts designed to help young people pursue higher education. Her story also stands for a reminder of the extraordinary determination shown by investigators, volunteers, and the entire community that refused to stop searching. Sometimes justice begins with something as small as a single surveillance camera footage, and thousands of people refusing to give up. Wow. I'm not gonna lie, this is definitely one of the hardest ones I've ever read and did research on. This was incredibly disturbing on my end because it sucks. You go out for just an ordinary run, ordinary jog, just get your mind off things, and then boom. One mistake. One person comes up without even a reason, just ends your life. There was no motive or nothing. He decided to just kill someone. I don't know if there's a motive. It wasn't stated, but there's most definitely a motive in there. But if you guys can find that motive, let me know what that motive was. It still does not give an okay to kill somebody in somebody's life. Just because you got shit going on and you're fuck up don't mean everybody else is. You feel me? Come on now. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. If you don't mind, please hit that like and subscribe button. Love every single one of you guys. Join my journey on becoming a little commentary channel, or whatever you like to call these. I will continue to post more of these weekly, so please hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I post. I love you guys. Please stay safe out there. You don't know what people got going on, man. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video.